Welcome to SilverC Review. Wow, that actually splashed me. This podcast will have a introduction, a movie review, a movie recommendation, some jokes and quotes, and Inside the Introvert. So all of the times for the sections will be listed down below, so feel free to skip around and listen to what you want to listen to, and everything will be good. If you saw my last video, you will notice that I'm recording these on the same day. I originally had planned to bring a different shirt to change into, since I'm doing another one from my kayak, and I forgot. I'm going to try to adjust this just a little bit. There we go. And so I was going to try to be sneaky about it and not show that I'm recording them both on the same day, but now you know. It's really weird how my Greatest Showman video keeps getting listens. Like, all my other ones don't really get listened to that much, but for whatever reason, Greatest Showman's got like 50, and I don't know if it's, because I'm pretty sure if the same person is listening to it, it'll probably just count it over and over, but it's very odd that that one audio file keeps getting listens, but I keep leaving it up on SoundCloud. I've been taking down other episodes, because I think that was episode 4 or something, and I'm on like, boy, I don't even know what I'm on. Am I on like 15 or 16 or something? I don't know. But I'm way past 4, I know that much. So, but I'm still going to leave it up for whatever reason that people want to keep listening to it. Really, I think my listens are kind of going away. Like I was getting like maybe 10 or so, and now I barely get like 3 or 4. And those might be just me listening to it. I don't know, it might be because I've run out of space on SoundCloud, and the other ones were probably up there for a longer amount of time, because these newer videos, the first videos I made, or first podcast episodes, were only like 12 to 15 minutes, and now I'm pushing like 40 minutes, so hopefully I can break these apart and get the length of them down some, and also, once I get the membership to SoundCloud, I'll be able to leave all the episodes up there, so then people can have time to listen to them, I guess. But it is kind of weird how it's like not getting listens, but at the same time I'm not getting any like hate for any stupid things that I say or anything like that, so it's like no one likes me, but no one hates me, so I'm just kind of stuck in the middle of being ignored, which is fine. I still have fun. And hopefully, another thing, the audio on these probably isn't the greatest, especially when there's wind involved, and that could be a major detriment to people listening to the videos. Was that a lizard or a spider? It was a spider, a big one. But once I switch to audio only, I think that'll be a lot better, and I can more judge. Like, you'll still have the wildlife sounds, but when I'm doing audio only, I won't have to worry about, like, I can have the microphone, because right now, the microphone on the camera, it's always at varying distances based on how I want my background to look, and I probably, if I bought a microphone for the camera, it would kind of improve upon that, but I don't want to do that since I'm planning on going audio only. And being audio only, you'll still get all the background nature sounds, because I'll still be walking around, but I'll be able to always keep it at that distance from my mouth regardless of where I'm at, so that'll be nice. So hopefully when my sound quality improves, the viewership will improve. So let's talk about a couple movies that I saw recently. Wolf Children, giving this one a 10 out of 10. It's definitely in my collection. It's a hardworking single mom, and she's single because the dad dies, and she has to raise 2 kids. And as the title says, Wolf Children, they have a sci-fi ability type thing that is extra that she has to deal with, and she's just one of those people that never gives up, and it's got a lot of meaning in the movie, and a lot of oh, can you hear that? I'm gonna stop for a second so you can hear this. Isn't that cool? I recorded this sound effect one time. I've got it on my phone. I'm gonna stop here for a second and keep talking, but so you can hear it, because I think it's cool. I love it. This was the exact spot I recorded it at. So anyways, this movie definitely makes me cry, and it's got a really good ending to it, and it's just, she just does whatever it takes, and it's interesting how the two kids completely change. Like when they're young, they're one way, and then as they grow older, they become the opposite of each other. But it is a really good movie. Of course, it's, I don't think I said it, it's Japanese animation, and but it's done really well, so I don't care if you like cartoons or not, you should go out and watch this movie, because it's amazing. And the other movie is The Magnificent Seven. I'm giving this a 7 out of 10, ironic, because it's 7. But it is a really good movie, kind of a Western movie. It's got, is it Denzel Washington? I don't know. It's got some big names in it. Oh, it's got Chris Pratt in it. And some other really good people, and it's just, they're, it's kind of like Ocean's 11. It's a band of people that each have unique skills, and they band together to help this western town, and it's really good. So check that one out. Alright, we're going to go into our movie review. This is going to be A Quiet Place, and I'm giving this one a 5 out of 10. There will be spoilers. Yeah, there are a lot of spoilers in this one, so if you've not seen the movie but you don't want it spoiled, then don't listen to this until you've seen it. And, yeah, there's a lot of spoilers in it. So, anyways, I had a very suspenseful beginning, and I thought it was weird that they were all walking around barefoot. I mean, I understand why, because they wanted to be quiet. I mean, I wear those Vibram 5-finger shoes, and I can be just as quiet in those as I can barefoot. And honestly, like house slippers and stuff, like maybe, okay, you couldn't run in those. You can definitely run in 5-finger shoes, though. But I can run better in 5-finger shoes than I can in my tennis shoes. But even, like, I don't know, it's probably because I'm introverted and I'm always so quiet, but I value quietness. Like, I purposely try to walk as quietly as possible. I love it when I walk up behind somebody, not trying to scare them, and it ends up scaring them just because they didn't hear me coming up. And I hate people that do things that are super loud just because they're lazy. And I mean, to them, they don't even notice stuff like that, but I do notice stuff like that, and I like being quiet. So I know I can be very quiet even in dress shoes and tennis shoes and things like that. So it was kind of weird that they were all completely barefoot. Too bad we can't see a snake out here. Apparently there was a snake in the, we probably couldn't see it in the last video, but I must have passed it at some point. I missed it. So anyways, the creatures move very, very quickly, but it's kind of hard to believe that there's always one of them super close by, and it's just gonna come and get you the second you make a sound. So, like, I mean, I understand they move quick and there's a bunch of them, but I mean, seriously, are each one of them, yeah, the frog, each one of them within like a football field of a person just waiting to hear a noise? And in the scene where the kid dies, the son, how did the creature not hear the dad running? I mean, he was full out running, and even if you're barefoot, it's going to make noise. It doesn't matter what you're running on. And, I mean, could the creature, was he just so focused on the target, and then once he got the target, stopped listening for anything? And really, why are they even attacking people? Like, do they need to feed on people? Like, it never really explains that I saw, that I remember at least. And, I mean, I can understand just wanting to kill anything around, but usually there's a reason why, more than just being defensive or something. So, and also, while we're on this, it never really tells us why the military couldn't defeat these things. Like, it just kind of throws us in, and, oh man, there's wind. I think think when I get around this corner, it'll be better. I was not expecting wind today. I'm on a reservoir. Usually I'm on like creeks or streams or something like that, and there's barely any wind. I really hope it's not destroying my sound quality. I'm gonna try to get around this corner. So anyways, especially in the ending when they find out, which I mean this was the very first thing I thought when I saw them, but why did it take them so long to figure out that high-pitched noises would affect something that has super hearing? I mean, that's just common sense. And why could the military not create some sort of supersonic weapon and something that would be able to battle against the monsters? It doesn't really explain. And even if they were using bullets and stuff, I mean, obviously bullets and things can hurt them, so why in the world? What, like, I mean, I understand they're super hearing, but there's just so many of them or something that the military couldn't handle them, or I don't know. For it being an apocalyptic world, it was kind of strange that it didn't explain any of that. I did think it was kind of interesting how they used the method to describe the creatures by letting you see his notes on the computer, and I think it had like a newspaper or something like that, and I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I didn't enjoy that it didn't completely explain everything, but that was a interesting way to go about talking about them. Yeah, pregnancy does not seem like a wise decision when you're in a apocalyptic world. I mean, even in The Walking Dead, which I can't remember if she got pregnant before or after. I think she got pregnant after, which I mean, they actually do have the baby in The Walking Dead and everything, but I don't know. It's just, I understand that there's not a whole lot to do when you're in an apocalypse like that, but I don't know, I feel like there would be ways to prevent something like that happening. So, which I mean, I know in this it was just something for the movie, but it seemed kind of not a smart decision from people who are apparently smart enough to survive that long. Doesn't a fire make noise? Even if you're not burning wood, I feel like the flames would make some sort of noise. Maybe not. Yeah, I guess if you're not burning wood, if you're just burning fuel, it probably wouldn't make a noise, but I don't know, that seemed kind of weird. And I know it says later on what day they were on, but before that, it showed the raccoons, and I was like, what? How long has it been that they've been able to stay alive? And any animal, for that matter, should have been dead immediately, because they never would have been able to figure out that you have to be quiet to stay alive. So I thought that was kind of weird how they had the raccoons scare them. I know they were trying to go for a jump scared type of thing, but I didn't feel like the raccoon should have been there. And it killed the raccoon right after when it got towards the forest, so. There's a bird. Looks like a kingfisher. Yeah, I think it is. Oh, why would they not build their house right next to like a big waterfall or something? I thought of that pretty early on, and then in the movie they actually go to an area, a big waterfall, and they're able to talk normally and even scream and everything, and like, why would you not just have your house right next to it? I mean, there's plenty of ways to build it right by the water. If nothing else, even if it doesn't make you completely immune to them, I mean, you could at least... Is that a turtle? Wow. It's kind of gross, but kind of interesting because it's so big. I wonder if you'll eventually be able to see it, but there's a massive snapping turtle, I guess, that's obviously dead. Should be able to see it now. Back behind me. It's right there. I don't know if I pointed out a frame, but anyways, it's dead and got flies all over it, but it's still kind of cool. Yep. Oh, and he went into the water. Got himself a fish. It was indeed a kingfisher. So yeah, I mean, live next to a waterfall or like next to a power generator, or I guess they probably didn't have any power generators running, but anything that makes a lot of noise, just live next to that. And even if it doesn't completely protect you, it would vastly improve your ability to make small noises that wouldn't be heard. It was an interesting family dynamic choice where it was probably because they had to witness the kid dying the way the kids were acting, and with the girl being more tomboyish and the boy being a little scared and everything, so it was a good choice on their part. I was a little confused why the old man screams. I don't know, I couldn't really figure out what was going on with that scene. I mean, I know there was, I'm guessing his wife or whatever was like dead on the ground. I guess they had just been attacked, but it was weird that the dad and son... Spider... It was weird that the dad and son walked in on him, and then of course he screamed. And I mean, even if you're wanting to kill yourself because your wife is gone or whatever, why would you try to kill someone else as well? So it was kind of weird. It was a very neat warning system that they had. The whole lights, being able to turn them different colors, the red, and I don't know what the original color was, but that was a pretty neat system. And it was very interesting how they devised to put the oxygen mask on the baby to try to keep it silent and put it in the box and everything, but I mean, still, babies cry constantly, and I just feel like that was something unneeded. I kind of want to go back there. Could go backwards. It was a very unfortunate series of events with her water breaking, so the baby was coming, and the nail in the flooring, and then even after they have the baby, with it flooding, it was just like they couldn't seem to catch a break. Got some lily pads. Hopefully you'll be able to see those. As I like run into something going backwards. Oh, so they get in the grain, the what is it? The tower of grain or whatever. And I mean, they do the big thing where they're sinking and it's scary and she goes under. And then the monster comes and they get underneath the piece of wood or whatever, and he's pushing down on them and they're not sinking. Like, did I miss something? Or I don't understand why they didn't instantly sink down. And even afterwards, after it's gone, they're still not sinking, and they weren't like holding on to the board. They were literally, as far as I remember, they were pushing up on the board as it was pushing down and busting through it and everything. So that was kind of weird that they had just made a scene of them sinking and now all of a sudden they're fine. Ooh, that's cool. I kind of want a picture of that. I'm not going to have time though. Drat. Lots of stuff should have just made noise on its own, and I feel like those creatures would have been attacking a lot of things falsely. I mean, if the wind blows like a windmill creaking, that would make noise, and I don't know, it again never really explains how the monsters knew how to tell the difference between a noise that a human or a creature makes versus some just random noise. I mean, even like trees rustling and stuff like that. I mean, anytime the wind blows, I feel like the monsters would just be attacking everything around them. I didn't understand the significance of the hearing aid station. I mean, she had the hearing aids and her dad was giving them to her. So where did she think that he was getting them from? Did she not understand that he was making them, or I don't know. I don't know if there was a meaning to it that I just missed, but, and also him not wanting her to go down there, I'm guessing that was the reason, but it just seemed really strange that, I mean, they had the big moment where she was like, oh, I can't believe that he was making them or whatever, and it just seemed weird to me. I missed the meaning, or maybe I missed something that was said or something like that, but I did not get that part. Could actually go pretty far here. Didn't know it would go back this far. Fish. Ah, the shade is so nice. Have to switch my board. No. See, this is why I love kayaking, right here. I could just sit here all day long, floating around. So peaceful. Probably can't hear it in the video, but or in the audio, but it's very peaceful. Okay, I'm not really sure a gunshot in the basement would be that much louder than all the stuff that was hitting the floor. I don't know, I mean, you've got the walls and everything, so I feel like when they do the gunshot, like, I can understand him not wanting to fire a gun outside, because that would definitely travel for quite a ways, but being, just being in the basement, I feel like it shouldn't have called forth, like, 2 or 3 of those creatures. I mean, stuff, when they were fighting it, it was knocking over a shelving unit, and I mean, stuff was just falling all over the place. I feel like that would have made just as much noise, but they had to wait until the gunshot. And, I mean, the gun in general seemed kind of pointless, because they had it for most of the movie, but they didn't use it until the very last second, and even then, do they not have silencers? Could they not have built some sort of silencer? I mean, what was it, No Country for Old Men, that he builds like a silent shotgun or something like that? I guess I'll start going forward again. So, I don't know. I thought that was kind of weird. And honestly, I was not a big fan of the ending. Like I said, they should have figured out a long time ago that high-pitched noises, I mean, it's just like dogs. Dogs have better sense of hearing. They can hear, was it tones, or they can hear a range of stuff that we can't hear. So, I mean, common sense is, I mean, high-pitched noises hurt dogs' ears, so it would have hurt these creatures' ears, or at least stabilized them so you could shoot them. So, just the fact that they were like, alright, let's do this, and it was like, what are you going to do? Save the human race now? That, I mean, maybe they were just going to fight for their life, but I mean, theoretically, is if they kept trying to shoot the creatures, that would just draw more of them, and it would be like a never-ending cycle, so, I don't know. Not a big fan of the ending, but that's going to be it for A Quiet Place, 5 out of 10. We're going to go on to my recommendation. This is going to be Ghost Town, another 2008 movie. And this one's got Ricky, how do you say his last name, Gervais, and it's a comedy. And it says, after a near-death experience during a routine colonoscopy, people-hating dentist Bertram is shocked to discover that he can suddenly talk to the dead. Constantly cornered by unhappy spirits who want him to help resolve their earthly problems, he is driven to distraction. Eventually, he gives in and tries to help them. And as it says, it's just this guy that hates people in general, more so than most, and he's given this power, and it's comical because he's the only one that can see them, so he's in situations where he'll be talking to them and no one else knows what's going on, and they want him to help him, so now, and he can't get away from them, and they phase through things and everything like that, so it's a really good comedy, so go check that one out. Alright, quotes. When someone tells you it can't be done, it's more of a reflection of their limitations and not yours. And, I mean, that's kind of like another quote that I'm just going to add on here that says, the people that say it can't be done should get out of the people of the way doing it. Get out of the way of the people doing it. And, I don't know, a lot of people, even, I feel like that in a lot of things. Alright, I'm back. Either my battery died or my camera got too hot, I'm not sure, but I, had just talked about the quote, and it's run into this a lot. A lot of times, something that one person does, they'll automatically assume someone else does it just because they do it. Everyone assumes that other people do the exact same thing they do, like for example, lying. If a liar approaches a very honest person, it doesn't matter what the honest person says, the liar still thinks that they're capable of lying. And, I mean, another honest person would be like, no, why in the world would they lie? Logically, when have they ever lied to you? And the liar is just like, well, right now, I guess. And, but I mean, that's kind of the thing that people project themselves onto you, and you just have to ignore it. I mean, honestly, you shouldn't really care too much about what other people think anyways. Just keep going with what you're going with and do what you can and not worry about them. So the other quote is, we can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or rejoice because thorn bushes have roses. And this is another one where it's like, it's just how you look at life. I mean, you can either, a negative personality will not give you a positive life. And you have people that are constantly, why me, bad things happen to me, and it's because you're focusing on the bad things. If you would find the silver lining and not worry about what all is going on and just keep going and try to make things better, then they'll get better. And it's kind of like riding a motorcycle, which I may have said this before, but if you go wherever you look. So if there's an obstacle in the road, you don't look at it. I mean, you can keep it in your peripheral vision, but you look a different direction, and that's the way you go. If you look at the obstacle, you're going to run into the obstacle. And so, I mean, in life, you can have all these obstacles, and if you're focusing on them, you're just going to run into them, and it's not going to work. But if you are like, well, I see it, that's going to be a problem, and I'm going to figure out a different way to go, and I will go this way, and it will be a lot better. So that's going to be it for quotes. Jokes. Why does Waldo wear stripes? Because he doesn't want to be spotted. And I had a dream the other night that I was a muffler, and I woke up exhausted. Alright. Going to go on to the Inside the Introvert. So, I had a party the other day. It was a PhD party, PhD graduation party. And, boy, being introverted and being a freelance photographer, I get myself into some crazy situations. And so I had no clue what this client looked like. I'd never seen her in person before. And so I get there, and I walk inside, and I walk around. I'm just kind of waiting for someone to be like, oh, hey, you must be the photographer. No one. People look at me and then just look away. No one says anything to me or greets me or anything like that. So I was just kind of like, oh, okay. So I didn't know what to do. So I just started walking around taking pictures because they had like the table set up. So I was just like, oh, I'll just walk around and start taking pictures, and maybe someone will eventually tell me what to do. And they finally, which I don't really know who he was, but one of the guys finally told me that they wanted me up towards the front as people were coming in to take pictures against a background that they had set up. And it was like a congratulations, and it had the people's names on it and everything like that. And that was fine, and it was actually kind of hard to balance because it wasn't a steady stream of people coming in. I didn't want to just be standing around, so I would take some pictures of people coming in, and then I'd go try to take some party pictures, and then someone else would come in, I'd have to run back over there, and it was kind of annoying. But once the party actually got started, more people kept coming in, but I mean, it was all through the night. I think it started at, what time was it? 6:30 or something like that, and or maybe I was there by 6, and I mean, it lasted all night. I left at midnight, and they were still dancing and doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and they said they had the room rented out until 2 a.m. I was like, I'm not staying that late because I still had an hour drive home. But and the lady that I had been communicating with, she didn't show up until 30 minutes after the time I got there. And really, I could have showed up an hour later than the time, and that probably would have been better because there just weren't many people there. But I mean, I did get everyone setting up and everything like that. The entire party was African American. There was one other white guy, and there was one Asian lady, and that was it. And which is cool because, I mean, it's neat that they trusted me to take the pictures, which, I mean, she had seen from other parties. But this one guy walks up, and he's tall, I mean, a lot taller than I am, and I'm 5'10", 5'11", something like that, and he walks up beside me, and he said, so, was it your idea to have a black background? Was it your idea to have a black background at a party with black people. And I was like, whoa, easy, man. And that's what I was thinking, but I told him, I said, no, I said the background was already here when I showed up, and I said, usually graduation is black, and I said that's probably why they have the black background. And I'm not sure if I said, but he was in a completely white suit, so it was kind of interesting experience. And there was definitely a language barrier, which I get myself into a lot, between speaking French or whatever African American or just African language they were speaking. I know the only African language I know is Afrikaans, and that's just because it sounds like Africa. I'm not sure if that's what they were speaking. I know a comedian, Trevor Noah, talks about that, and he doesn't really know a whole lot of that language. But whatever they were, like probably 80% of what was said, I couldn't understand. So I just went around and took pictures, and was like, I don't know what's happening next or why people were laughing or anything like that, but it happens quite a bit. I'm not sure why they were speaking French, but there was a lot of French as well. But that's going to be for that experience. They have a ball of questions at work, and I always dread having to play that game. And essentially, you throw the ball to somebody, and they catch it, and then you tell them what finger, and they have to read whatever question's on that finger. And they're questions that I need time to think about. Like, one of them was the thing I own that I wish I didn't. And everyone joked around and said, your wife, and ha ha ha. And I ended up settling on pets. I was like, they're just a big responsibility. It's like having a hobby, essentially, by raising the pet, having to spend time with them. And I don't mind feeding and watering them, but you have to spend a lot of time with them. Otherwise, I feel like you're kind of neglecting them, taking them for walks and taking them out and stuff. So, but really, I wish I had settled on social anxiety. Like, that's what I have that I wish I didn't have. And it's one of those things where it's like, I wish I could go back in time and say that because it was a smart answer. But I couldn't think of it in the moment. And one of them said the worst habit. And I don't really think I have any bad habits. Usually, if I do have a bad habit, I work really hard to change it. And so I don't know. I didn't know. I settled with biting my nails. But cause I do, like, I bite my nail to start it and then I pick at it. But I don't really consider that a bad habit because I only do it when my nails are clean. And I tried using nail clippers on my nails, but they bend the nail. They don't just break it. Like, I use nail clippers on my two big toes because those I actually had ingrown toenails at one point because I was picking at them. And it works fine for those. Like, they have enough, they're strong enough to where it doesn't bend them. It just clips them. But on my little toes and on my fingernails, it bends the nail, and I can't stand that feeling of bending them. So I would rather bite them. So it's like, it's not really a bad habit. And I thought about some of the other things, like maybe not being friendly or not talking to people right when I meet them or not being able to open up. But then it's like, is that really a habit? And then we have to discuss what really is a habit. And it just creates this deeper conversation. And it's not, they expect just a quick answer. So not a fan of stuff like that. That's part of being an introvert, I guess. And the last thing was, I hate reading paperback books. I hate reading at all. I just don't have the imagination. I mean, there's a lot of introverts out there that are super creative. They kind of get stuck in their own world and everything. That's not me. I'm very literal, very logic, and I don't have imagination. That's why I take pictures. I can see when something looks good, but I can't imagine something in my mind and create that. So I just, when I'm reading, all I get caught up is the words on the pages, and I don't know. So I'm just not a big fan of reading. I haven't read a book since like college, until I got stuck in this situation. I had this picture of my dog in my cube, and someone came up and asked what kind it was, and she said it looked a lot like a dog out of this book, and she asked me if I'd ever read it, and I said no. And she left, and I actually did look for the audio version of it, but you had to pay money for it. And I tried to find a free one. I never could, so I finally gave up. Well, she happened to come back by my desk, and I told her, I said, I looked for an audio version for free, and I couldn't find one. And she said, oh, I'll just bring my paperback for you. I was like, okay. I was hoping she would just forget about it. No, she remembered, and like a week or two later, she brought me the paperback. So I went ahead and read it, and it wasn't a very long book, and it was a good book. It talked about this little dog that, it was called Chasing Atticus, I think is the name of it. And it's just this little schnauzer and this guy that's a newspaper writer, and they decide to start climbing mountains in wintertime. And this little dog was just incredible, and he led this guy everywhere, and just became his best friend. And it really was a good story, but I still didn't highly enjoy reading it. Oh no, I've got some wind. I really thought I'd be blocked from the wind. But anyways, so that's the only book I've read since I got out of college, and then trying to return it to her, I had no clue where this lady sits. Like I said, there's 700 people I work with. She could be anywhere. So I just had to wait until she came back by, and I had to try to, like, she came back, she gave it to me on a Friday and came back on a Monday, and I definitely hadn't read it over the weekend. So I told her to give me like a week, and I would have it finished. And, I mean, it took her like 2 weeks to come back and pick up the book, but I had to display it on my desk to where if she did walk by, she could see it, and I was constantly, I'd put it up at 9, I didn't want the book to get hurt or anything, so it was just like waiting for her to come back by, and it was a very awkward situation of waiting and being annoyed, and it's like, why, how do I get myself in? I should have just paid for the audiobook, and then I wouldn't have had to worry about any of it. If I had known all this was going to follow, I definitely would have done that. So, that's going to be it for Inside the Introvert. Hopefully this is only about 30-ish minutes. If you're listening to this, you can see all my episodes on YouTube and see me kayaking. Woo! Just shook the camera. And if you want to listen to older episodes, you can go to Buzzsprout. Check out my nature pictures and my just awesome-looking pictures on Flickr, SilverC_review, and also on Pinterest. And you can find me on Twitter. And all my new episodes get uploaded to SoundCloud. So that's going to be it. Take care.